Hi, and welcome to Season 3's season finale of Creative Cooking in a Messy Kitchen. I'd like to think we saved the best for last. Our main dish, or it's a side dish, but our main dish we're going to focus on tonight is risotto. We're going to do a green apple risotto as our side dish. I'm going to throw in a couple different proteins. We're going to have a flank steak. We're going to have some salmon, and we're going to use a leftover rotisserie chicken. Obviously, you're not going to eat all three of these at one meal, but I wanted to show you a couple little segments throughout the show so you can choose for yourself which main course you want to go with that. So some of the ingredients we're going to need for this is at least one Granny Smith apple, depending on the size of the meal you're going to make, diced up, some arborio rice, and some chicken stock. Need at least 4 cups, and some Parmesan cheese and some fresh parsley. Other things you see on the table here are going to be for some of the other side dishes that we're doing with it. But without delay, our grill's heated up, so we're going to go ahead and get the salmon on there and show you how that works. So what we're going to do here, we got salmon on some non-stick foil. And we're going to use some of this. This is a nice extra spicy, salt-free Mrs. Dash. Very complimentary with salmon. Cover that liberally. And then we're going to put a little bit of, maybe about a teaspoon or 2 of honey. Just a little teaspoon of garlic, and just kind of fold up the edges. Alright, we're going to set that kind of right on the flat part of the grill there. Save room for on our thing. So we're going to get that started. The chicken we're going to put aside for now because it's already cooked. We're just basically going to heat it up. And we'll get stuff ready for the flank steak. So come back right after this and we'll show you how to marinate the flank steak. You're going to need to marinate that probably an hour before the dish. So come back after these messages. There you go. Oh!
No blood on the weapon. Hey, come on over. You need to check out the body. And there's a bag there with the murder weapon. Appears to be a knife. Strange thing is there's no blood on it.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Must have one somewhere. Oh, I didn't have my gloves on.
Welcome back to Creative Cooking in a Messy Kitchen. We're going to marinate the flank steak now as part of our meal. You want this to probably marinate for at least an hour, so it's always good to get this started before you start everything else. So we have a nice flank here. And the flank is just a nice thin piece, and you can see the grain running straight down. Sometimes there's a layer of what they call silver, which is fat that you need to get off there, but it looks like they did a good job of cutting that all off. If you leave that on, it'll tend to be really tough. So what we're going to do, we're going to season this up really good. A little bit of pepper. Kosher salt. fresh minced garlic. We'll get that all massaged into there really good. Turn it over, do the other side the same way. I'm going to use a spoon for the salt this time so I don't touch the salt with my hands. I just touch the raw meat with. Garlic. Massage that in, okay? Now, our marinade here, we're going to do rosemary. Nice fresh herb. A lot of people think it smells like a Christmas tree smell. Real easy to work with rosemary. You just kind of start at the top, kind of bring the leaves down, find the stem, and then just slowly pull the leaves off. Real easy to do. And that's a, let's see, 0.66 ounce package of rosemary at grocery store, which should be more than enough to do this one flank. No specific measurements on the garlic and the salt and the pepper, just kind of to your taste. Alright, so we get all that rosemary off there. Now I'm going to give that rosemary a little bit of chop. This will help bring out some of the oils in the rosemary that will help penetrate into the meat. Okay, just kind of a rough chop there. Get that on, push down into the meat a little bit. You want a container big enough to hold the whole thing. Press this rosemary in there. Garlic. Okay, now we're going to use a beer marinade. This is a really good one. It's called Not Your Father's Root Beer. It tastes basically tastes like root beer that you drink as a soda, when you were a kid or whatever. And the one thing I like about this is it has a lot of different spices. It's a spiced ale, so it's got a lot of good spices in it. So we're going to cover this up real good. Trick is to save a little bit in the bottle for the cook. Tee-hee. Put a lid on it. And we'll put it back in the fridge and we'll let that marinate for about an hour. And we'll come back in a little bit. We'll start working on the risotto and everything else that's going with it. And check out this word from our sponsors.
Look at that branch. Look at that branch. Look at that branch. Look at that branch. Look at those branches. Look at that branch. Whoa.
Alright, welcome back. As you saw us over an hour ago, we marinated our flank steak. What you want to do is just get it out of the marinade and brush off some of the rosemary. And go ahead and lay it right on the grill. Can you handle the sizzle? Hold your marinade and dump it out. We're going to use it later. Okay, so while that's cooking, we're going to get started on our risotto here. You want your get your chicken stock up to temperature. So we're going to go with a nice warm chicken stock. Get your pan warm here. Some extra virgin olive oil. little bit of garlic in there. Don't let your garlic burn. About 1.5 cups of rice. And your apples. You want to saute this a little bit until the rice is a little opaque. You're making risotto, it's a very slow process. Basically want to keep it moving and on a slow simmer. Saute just a little bit more. And you just want to kind of keep it moving. Every time the liquid gets down, you're going to add just a little bit more liquid and you just keep stirring. Our steak turn. A little pepper. Kosher salt. And while we're doing this, will be a good opportunity to see some more information from our sponsors and maybe this preview from Manny Moments season finale. Welcome back. As you can see, our risotto's coming along just fine here. Still got a ways to go. What I did here in this saucepan is I melted about 1/2 stick of butter. This is going to be something to top our steak with. So we're going to put in some onions. I'll get those sauteed. Got to be multi-talented here. One hand doing one thing, another hand doing another thing. You don't want to let that risotto burn. Keep slowly adding your stock to it. Oftentimes you go to a nice steakhouse and they always bring you out the onions and the mushrooms sauteed just right. Always tastes perfectly for that steak that they brought you. This is one of the ways that they do it here with what we got stirring here. We're going to get these caramelized nice and translucent here. Once your onions get a little translucent, I'm going to add in some mushrooms. That was about one small onion and about 3 fresh mushrooms. Let those saute up nicely. You want to do it slow. You don't want to burn your butter and everything while you're doing that. And of course, keep stirring your risotto while you're doing it. I'm going to add a little bit more, olive oil to that along with the butter, because I want to keep that butter from evaporating all the way and burning everything. Let that cook down a little. Risotto's really looking good here. Let those caramelize a little. If you can't walk and chew gum, this might not be the thing for you. You might want to do one thing at a time. Just joking. I know all of my audience is smart enough to walk and chew gum. Salt in there. Keep in mind we marinated that steak with the alcoholic root beer, we'll just call it. So the steak's already got that flavor, along with the rosemary. So we'll get just about so. We're going to take some of our leftover marinade, kind of strain it through your spoon or a strainer. You don't get any big chunks of rosemary in there. We're going to let that cook down a little bit. Put the alcohol out. We're going to use a little bit of beef base to give us a nice rich taste to it. It's almost like a gravy in a way. And just ladle those out and put them over your steak. Oh, so good. Don't forget the risotto. We're going to set that off to the side. And we'll just keep going with the risotto here. Check back with us after these messages and we'll see if we're about ready to go. Alright, welcome back. Here we're just about to the final stages of your risotto. Take a look here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of fresh parsley. Now this is about the stage that you, when you're making a traditional risotto, that you put in your Parmesan cheese. Since we're doing a apple risotto, I'd like to dare you to try something a little bit different. I'm going to use about a pinch of ground cinnamon. The cinnamon and apples go together so well. You can still add the Parmesan if you want, but on this particular dish I don't think the Parmesan goes well with the other flavor profiles, so there you have it. We're going to let this cool for just a minute while we plate our final product and come right back and see what it looks when it's all finished. Welcome back. We have, as I mentioned, 3 different dishes. Obviously you're not going to cook all 3 dishes necessarily in one night, but I just wanted to show you what all you could do with this same risotto. We have our flank steak with our mushrooms and onions. We got our salmon. And we have some chicken we use the rotisserie chicken for. Add a little bit of steamed broccoli for color and texture, and you're all set. I'd like to thank you for joining us for all 3 seasons and this season finale of season 3 of Chef Jeff's Creative Cooking in a Messy Kitchen. Good day, good eats, and God bless.